I think succession planning is done generally rather badly, both at below board level and at board level. So why is that? I think it's partly human frailty. People don't really like to think of their own succession, their own demise, if you like, because in order to think about who comes next, you have to imagine that you're no longer there, or you and your colleagues are no longer in position.
If you get it wrong, in other words, you don't handle the chair succession correctly and properly, then you can end up with enormous consequences.
Ultimately, more time should be spent by many businesses on succession. Succession ultimately is one of the primary concerns and drivers for what boards should be about. How do you create a smooth path to the future that ensures that business doesn't have an interruption in delivery, doesn't have a misstep in strategy, doesn't lose a year while it gets its head round a new leadership team?
Why doesn't it happen enough? Because it's difficult. Especially, I'll talk primarily about chairs, because if you get the chair wrong, then obviously that has much bigger implications than getting any other board succession issue wrong. So when I, for example, was the deputy chairman at Fourth Port and at Keller PLC, I spent a lot of time making sure that we had a proper way of dealing with the succession of the chair.
A focus on it is both a real strength and an opportunity to think about, if I'm departing in a year's time, as I will be from one of the charities I'm involved in, my role comes to an end in February 2026, then contributing now to how I might be replaced, what are the skills gaps that the board has that they need to look for to fill, then not only are you doing your current job well, you're helping the organisation negotiate its way to the future.
With the exception of the CEO and CFO, where the tenure is open-ended, actually other board members, it's very clear, they serve 3-year tenures that can be rolled over in the UK governance up to 9 years. So actually the timescales within which you've got to find successors to non-exec board roles is incredibly clear. With roles like the CEO and CFO, that should be part of a robust succession planning process. Certainly most large companies, I think boards do give that due care and attention. Whether they're successful or not in actually appointing the right successor is an entirely different focus. So I would focus my efforts on making that a successful succession process rather than we spend enough time on it.